Hello everyone, and welcome. Excuse me. And welcome to this audio podcast. This audio podcast as part of a this audio podcast as part of a Gusto Interlude. This audio podcast as part of a Echelon Gauntlet. This audio podcast as part of a Bostic Blasto, and this audio podcast as part of a ZtormLabostix production. In this Gusto interlude, looking at abstract form works by Mohammed and team from 2019 in 2019, and published works in the Journal of Clinical Nephrology and Kidney Diseases, looking at a publication, physical activity, energy, nutrition, and understanding laboratory parameters in CKD patients, and pilot findings following an educational webinar via social media platform. As part of this audio podcast. Will look at the abstract around this works. The collaborative publication. So as part of the abstract and the intro. So CKD is an irreparable long-standing condition, and CKD influences circulatory can influence circulatory dysfunction, anemia, and degeneration, and also variability of laboratory parameters. And around the aim of the investigation was to identify specifically what biochemical parameters are affected during physical activity in CKD. In addition, this works provides baseline data of a collaborative webinar surrounding nutrition for energy and physical activity. Around the literature review, physical activity has many advantages. Some include increased blood flow to dialysis vascular access, increased heart rate, and reduces fluid overload. Physical activity can also decrease urea. And can prepare the immune system for transplantation. And around the methodology, the investigators had several initial communications through Skype to distinguish what physical activity and nutrition understanding could be provided to patients, thus being dialysis and post-transplanted, and then look to implement an open webinar through a social media platform, being the RPSG, the Renal Patient Support Group. The team decided then to keep information generic, real life, and to provide best practice so CKD patients and carers would benefit the most. The webinar was planned for 30 minutes plus 15 minutes for any potential question and answers respectively. Around the analysis and the results, in around 2018, around December 2018, investigators formally introduced a wellness and nutrition webinar to the RPSG social media platform, the RPSG social media platform, and the webinar was well attended and had over 1,000 views 1,000 views following an initial broadcast, and 27 shares, around 27 shares. This was the first webinar of its. This was the first webinar of its kind. In around the discussion and conclusions. So future practice should consider providing context relating to laboratory parameters and physical activity following healthcare consultations, and involving collaborations to enhance practice beyond clinical and environment, and a call for multidisciplinary efforts outside the box and outside the box working outside the box working live webinars would support part of joined up healthcare. That draws this audio podcast to a close. This audio podcast as part of a Gusto Interlude. This audio podcast as part of a Echelon Gauntlet. This audio podcast as part of a Bostix Blasto. And this audio podcast as part of a ZtormLabostix production.